So then I would use my fancy dancy calculator. I'm going to peek over Riley's shoulder. 0.3333 repeating. So the cosine of what angle is closest to 0.333? Now again, it's not impossible to do if you don't have a scientific calculator that has the buttons on it for you. It just makes it a little bit harder. If I go to my cosine column and look for something that's close to 0.33333, I know it's going to have to be somewhere between 70 and 71.
It's 70.5.
Is it 70.5 exactly? Well, not exactly, but close enough.
5.3.
Yeah. So the measure of angle A is 70.5 degrees. Okay. All right, let's go to number 3. Which trig function are we going to use to find A in this case?
Sine.
Sine, yep, because here's your reference angle. 32 is the opposite. 54 is the hypotenuse. So the sine of my reference angle is equal to 32 over 54. What does that get us? So the sine of A needs to be equal to 0.5926. 5926. So again, we're either using our calculator, which is much easier to do, or using our table, sine column, 0.5926. Looks like it's going to be somewhere between 36 and 37.
36.5.
36 point, it's not 0.53, it is 36.3. And that's where it's going to get hairy when you're using the table and not having a calculator. So you might guess 36.5 degrees, and I probably would feel bad for you and just give it to you. But it technically it's 36.3, right? So the measure of angle A is equal to 36.3 degrees. So a calculator will be your friend for this section. All right, so the last 2 problems, we're just going to make sure we have every single piece of information about the right triangle figured out. So far in this right triangle, I know 2 of the 3 sides. I only know 1 of the 3 angles, the 90 degrees. So let's first find the measure of angle A. Which inverse trig function are we going to use to find A if I'm given 20 and 5? Not sine. Tangent, because I don't have a hypotenuse in there. So the tangent of A is equal to 20 over 5. So the tangent of A equals 4. So looking for 4 on my tangent, it's probably going to be close to 76. 76 is 4.0108. I think it is like 76.0. Is it 76?
75.9.
Oh, so yeah, I'll round up to 76.
75.96, so yeah.
Yeah.
76 works well.
So I could do a second inverse trig for T, but I could make my life a lot easier. If I know that angle A is 76 degrees, and I know that angle C is 90 degrees, how can you find the third angle?
180.
Just subtract them all from 180, right? So 180 minus 90 is 90. 90 minus 76 is 14 degrees for T. So once you have one, you can easily get the second. You could do an inverse trig if you wanted to. If you did a tan inverse of 0.25, which is the reciprocal of 4, you would get 14. All right, last thing. Now we got to find the length of TA. So let's put an X there. Which degree do you like better, 14 or 76?
76.
70. I heard. Let's go small numbers. So if I make T my reference angle, it's not incorrect if you did it the other way. Which number do you like better between 20 and 5? 5, and I get rid of that 20. 5, opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, opposite of the 14. X would be the still the hypotenuse. So which trig function are we going to use to solve for TA?
Sine?
The sine, good. So we're going to do the sine of 14 degrees is equal to 5 over x. Oh, my calculator moved on me. So what does that get us? So the sine of 14 is 0.2419 equals 5 over x. Put it over 1. So then we get 5 equals 0.2419x. Divide it out. 5 divided by 0.2419 gets me about 20.7.
Can't see.
Okay, so if you're asked to solve the right triangle, you should ultimately be able to say what all 3 side lengths are, and you should ultimately be able to say what all 3 angle measures are. In this case, it's just specifically asking for the 3 unknown parts. I think on your homework, I just have you listing all 6 things. Got it? Okay. All right, let's do the last one. Why is solving for the measure of angle G easy in this case? It already gives us one of our angles. So all we have to do is 180 minus 90 minus 42 is what? 48. So the measure of angle G is 48 degrees. Now let's solve for DO. So I'm going to put an X down there at DO. Which trig function is going to let me solve for DO? Cosine. Hey, there it is. So we're going to do a cosine of 42 degrees equals x over 50. Cosine of 42 is 0.7431 equals x over 50. Multiplying that. What does that get us, Riley?
37.157.
So 37.2.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's solve for OG. So now I'm going to put my x over on OG. Now which trig function are we going to use?
So I have to do sine.
Now we're going to do the sine, right? So now we're going to do the sine of 42 degrees equals x over 50. The sine of 42 is 0.6691. And then whatever that times 50 is.
33.5.
33.5. There we go. Okay? So, solving for angles, you have to do your inverse trig, either on your calculator or use the table to try to work backwards. Here's the decimal. Tell me what degree is closest to it. You solve for sides, you just use your normal trigonometry. All right, so here